Hey folks, this is Kalani. Let's have a look at the Spellblade Aluriel fight on Mythic difficulty. For this video I'm going to assume you're familiar with the fight on Heroic. If not, there will be a link in the description below for you to go view that one first. On Mythic, Aluriel will use all of the same abilities she uses in Heroic, which means that you will still deal with the Frost, Fire and Arcane phases. She'll also enrage shortly after the second Arcane phase, so you'll need to keep each phase clean and execute your strategy efficiently. To start with, we tanked the boss at the bottom of the stairs and our ranged was clumped near the fountain. For the Frost phase, we split the Marks of Frost to the left and right of our group, and we assigned 2 ranged to each side with backups ready to hop in should they be needed. The first 2 targets of Mark of Frost went to the right side and stood in front of our 2 designated ranged DPS. Just as the boss is casting Replicate, these marks should collide, and this will cause the Marks of Frost to jump to the 2 assigned ranged, and you now have 4 people who can take care of 1 set of Marks of Frost. They should collide and swap the mark whenever the Frostbitten debuff has fallen off the other 2 players. This was typically around 10 stacks. After Replicate goes out, 2 more random players will get Marks of Frost. We sent these 2 to the left of the group, and our 2 assigned range stood in front of them. This sets up the left group, so another 4 people are dealing with the other set of Marks of Frost. These marks should collide and pass the debuff 4 to 6 seconds before the boss casts Decimate. At this point in time, the right set of marks should have been passed back to the original targets, and the left set of marks should get passed as well. These 4 players need to move into the middle of the area you're working with, between the ranged and the boss, and detonate in a nice neat square so the adds can get picked up by the tank ASAP to get cleaved down. For our fire phase, we had the group spread out to avoid multiple people getting hit by the Searing Brand charge, and a few seconds before Detonate goes out, you'll want your Searing Brands to spread out loosely, about 10 yards apart. Make sure these aren't stacked up too tightly or you'll wipe very quickly. We assigned a DPS to each ad, which was marked by our raid leader's boss mods for interrupts, and nuked them down as quickly as we could. We also took the boss into the larger stack of fire ads so we could cleave her as we DPS'd the ads down. For the Arcane phase, we spread out again until the Arcane Orbs and Replicate had gone out, and then we stacked to the top of the stairs and slowly moved the boss as the orbs detonated. It's important to stack these as close as you can, it's going to get you the most damage on the ad so you can get back to the boss. Once we had finished moving, we used a few healing cooldowns to stay alive and turned to nuke the Arcane ads as soon as they came up. You'll need to repeat the phases twice, so make sure to reset back to Frost phase positions right after the Arcane ads are dead. On Mythic difficulty, you will also have to deal with the Fel Soul ad. If this ad is ever taken 45 yards away from the boss, they will both gain increased damage and haste, so you'll need to stay kind of close at all times. It doesn't help that the ad will knock back the tank with aggro with its Decimate ability, so our tanks made sure that they had their back to a wall while tanking this ad. Remember that the tanks will be swapping for Annihilate, so the tank who isn't tanking Aluriel will need to pick up the Fel Soul. The ad won't always be up, so you'll get a break from it now and then, but it will use more abilities depending on the phase you're in. In the Frost phase, it will cast Whirling Barrage, a nasty Blade Storm ability which will knock back anyone it touches while dealing a hefty amount of damage. She will also randomly start moving towards distant players, which is really hard to predict. We had our tank kite the ad away from the group before she was going to whirl, so she had a lot of ground to cover before she became a threat. In the fire phase, the ad will cast Fel Stomp. She'll jump out to random players and leave a nasty green flame patch on the floor. Again, it's pretty hard to predict, but you just need to spread out and move away from any pools that spawn. Every time the ad jumps out, it will jump back to the tank with aggro, so make sure that tank is not standing anywhere you don't want a green pool. In the Arcane phase, you'll have to deal with Fel Lash. This should be spread across most of your raid, but we actually had our tank solo the first one with cooldowns so we could stay spread out until after Replicate. When you start stacking for Detonate, you'll get another Lash which can be soaked by your raid, and then you'll get a third Lash after all the detonates have finished. Make sure Fel Lash hits the raid and Annihilate doesn't, and it's a pretty easy mechanic to deal with. The Fel Soul doesn't really add too much to the fight, but making sure your phases are super clean is the key to success here. That should be all you need to take down Spellblade Aluriel on Mythic difficulty. If you have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Or hop on over to Discord, we have a server at discord.gg/Kalani, a great place to come ask questions or just hang out. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.